Welcome to Week in Geek, your new comics preview for September 24th. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown.
What do you got?
I'm going to open up here with Inhuman number 6. This is Charles Soule has been cranking these things out once they've moved to Ryan Stegman. He's getting the art done a little quicker than, who was it, Joe Mad?
Yeah.
So, and the stuff looks phenomenal. Looks really, really good. This is a really cool story. I caught up on this. You've got Medusa kind of dealing with her things. Black Bolt is missing. The Terrigen Mists have been, unleashed. And we've got some new characters. And then we've got that other character whose name I can't recall, but is kind of wakening up these Inhumans and deciding which ones are worthy, killing others, or some of them are dying as a result of the transformation. And one of those guys has left that particular creature and has kind of joined our group. And looks like there's going to be a focus on some younger characters and kind of dealing with what they're going through. But then our old cast of characters is still there. And it looks like just a lot of fun. An old king, an old Inhuman king has returned, and he's up to no good and has proposed to Medusa in some way. Just a really cool story, some really great stuff. We can't say every week great things. Can't say enough great things about Charles Soule. Which brings me to the second book in my stack, which is Letter 4, number 10. Another Charles Soule book. Now, this is what I love about him, too, is how his stuff is varied. I mean, there's so much, different things. He can write almost any genre. You go from Inhuman, which, it's a little sci-fi, but you're dealing with a little bit more fantasy. And
I got one of his in here.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's of course. But yet, at the same time, with this, you come over and it's more straight-up sci-fi and a bit believable, even though there's an alien craft on the other side of the moon and doing its thing. Just a really cool story of these people. It's kind of been revealing more things as we go, and it looks like that weapon, the alien technology of some kind, is fired up and about to do something. So it looks like maybe we flash back a little bit, maybe not following that exact moment. I can't tell, but really excited. It looks like we pick up at that moment, and then some other things kind of pick up and some craziness happens. It's a great book. If you're not reading Letter 44, I say this every month, you really should be. I'm curious to see if they do end up turning this into a sci-fi channel thing, because it had been picked up.
Yeah.
I think this could be some great TV.
Cool.
A really political intrigue mixed with some good sci-fi. I love it. Next, I've got, this is Gru versus Conan by Sergio Aragonés. This book is fun. This is someone who's kind of had this idea, and Sergio is like intermingling himself in there, going, well, how would I do that? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And then people are just laughing because the artist is kind of having his own nervous breakdown. But then they're telling this story of these villagers who have encountered Gru that come to Conan and say, there's this nut job that's destroying everything. And the art is different. It's Sergio when it's his characters, and it's drawn like Conan when it's Conan.
This looks to me like kind of almost a comic book equivalent of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yes.
That blend of kind of classic, very kind of classic-looking Conan stuff with, Gru. I mean, Gru looks like Gru. It's always that look.
Yeah.
Yet they still manage to make them coexist in one panel together without looking wrong.
It looks great and fun, and everything Sergio Aragonés does is fantastic. I've loved his stuff since going back to Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
And even the little animated bits on bloopers and practical jokes, which was that was a Sunday night staple. Next I've got, this is an odd one. I'm going to give this one from Legendary Comics a try. This is A Town Called Dragon.
Oh, Judd Winnick.
Written by Judd Winnick with art by Jeff Shaw. I'm not familiar with Jeff Shaw. I'm familiar with Judd Winnick, and I've liked some of his stuff and not liked some of his stuff. But this, as I recall in the solicitations, is, it's got dragons, kind of a, kind of a little bit of a throwback medieval sort of thing, and it sounded sort of interesting. Now, this also looks like it could be a one-shot and not actually any kind of a continuing. Oh, it says to be continued, but it doesn't seem... Oh, there's the number one.
Okay.
I wasn't seeing a number on it of any kind. It's a thick book, though. We got a nice thick book here for $3.99, which, you can't beat that. I'm going to segue real quick here. I'm going to let you go ahead and take some books. Why don't you do what you got to do, and I'm going to go talk to a customer who needs to be spoken to outside.
All right.
And an older gentleman who wanted to come in today, and he was a little later than he said he was supposed to be. So,
well, I'm going to start off with Saga number 23. I had let this book kind of slide a little bit. I'd been behind. I was 3 issues deep, and I was almost ready to drop it because I hadn't read it in a while. And then over the weekend, I got caught up and was completely reminded why this is such a good book. our two main characters, I can never remember their names, are in hiding. He is basically being a stay-at-home dad. She is an actress. And, there's a great science fiction story going on. There's, revolution, and it's a Romeo and Juliet thing. But there's also a lot of great character stuff, a lot of great character drama. And in this, Brian Vaughn really kind of explores very realistic problems that couples have and issues that they have, and it kind of hits a little close to home to anyone who's ever been in a relationship. So Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples, still doing amazing stuff. 23 issues in, and really, we talked about Saga every single issue. It's always in our stacks. It's often been at the top.
Absolutely.
And, now that I'm caught up, I'm reminded. I was just saying I was almost ready to drop it because it's been 3 months. Okay. I got caught up and was completely reminded why.
And you led off with that one. That was your lead off.
Yeah.
Nice.
Next up, another one I got a little behind on, but I'm caught up on. I've actually caught up on a lot of things, which is nice for a change. This is Star Trek, Harlan Ellison, City on the Edge of Forever. This has really, really been solid stuff. The changes between the TV version and this are pretty significant, yet still the style is there. The likenesses are dead on. They've managed to really make this feel like this could have been an episode.
Okay.
So if you've seen the original and you love the original, as many Star Trek fans do, you really owe it to yourself. I know the screenplay that Ellison originally wrote has been available, commercially, and I'm sure before that it was available like in a bootleg. But because when you marry the visuals, when you get to look at William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and Joan Collins in the roles that they kind of made famous, with a look that still feels like it was right out of the show, it just all fits. I mean, this is, I'd mentioned before how they had done that with that Star Trek or Star Wars first draft. And that was really good, but the story was a first draft. It didn't click as well. This is great stuff by a great writer, and whether it's better or worse than the original, I know how it ends. I do kind of agree with some of the changes that they made, but overall, this is fantastic stuff. Next up, we got Batman Eternal number 25. I got caught up on this, except for last week. I actually haven't read last week's. This is again really, really solid book. They're really getting kind of into the heart of the supernatural stuff, and then it kind of took a little bit of a turn away. Okay. We're seeing plots within plans. People who we thought were good guys are turning out to be bad.
Interesting.
Really a lot. I mean, they're really keeping this going, keeping the momentum, keeping the story switching around. As soon as it seems like you have a resolution of some kind, you get hints that maybe things weren't quite what they seem, and that's a really nice way to go on after 25 issues of telling a single story, because you're finding out that it's really lots of pieces in different places that slowly come together and maybe split off. This has really been a very well done weekly book. They're doing it a little different than some of the others. You've got Scott Snyder and James Tynion sort of overseeing it like showrunners on a TV show.
Okay.
It's kind of a writer's room thing, and this one in particular is James Tynion doing the script, but you've got Ray Fox, Kyle Higgins, and Tim Seeley, and you can see some differences like you do on a TV show. Some of these guys have a little bit snappier, more clever dialogue, but because the stories are all really tight and consistent, a lot of real variety in the artwork, which surprises me. Sometimes it's very tight and realistic, sometimes it moves into something moodier. Overall, it still works. As I've said many times, I can't believe I'm buying another weekly book, let alone a Batman book, let alone really digging it. So it's good stuff. Next up, Guardians of the Galaxy number 19. This is Brian Michael Bendis, Ed McGuinness, hot on the heels of the biggest movie of the year. I actually have to applaud Marvel for this kind of timing, because they could have easily just made this fit right into what's going on in the movie. And instead, this is calling back to the old Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. This is the resolution of what happened in the Cancerverse when you had Nova and Star-Lord and Thanos all trapped, and then the series ended. Okay. And they were all believed to be dead. And then all of a sudden, Star-Lord's around and Thanos is around, and everyone's complaining about didn't Bendis read those old books? He read them. He was just waiting to tell you what happened. Okay. So yeah, we find out what happened to Nova. We find out how Thanos and Star-Lord got out of that universe and back into this universe. Plus, just some absolutely phenomenal artwork. I mean, and any book that Eddie McGuinness, I still call him Eddie. He goes by Ed now because he's a grown up. Anything he does, I love. But when you've got really good writing, and it looks like it's still got one more issue to go. But great stuff, answering questions that I had forgotten that I had from years ago. Next up, we've got some DC Futures End, New 52. This is Sinestro. All of these Future Ends jump 5 years into the future. I actually haven't read any of these yet. I'm kind of going to put them all together now that this is like the last batch. They're all a step outside of continuity. They don't necessarily tie into the Futures End miniseries, but this is a possible future.
Okay.
One issue. They
precede the Futures End story, correct?
I don't know.
I believe they're like lead-ins to what the Future's End is. So it's it's the world that they're living in right before.
All right. But they're all kind of, one and dones. Obviously, this is, theoretically 5 years from now, this is what you would be reading if the comic book time really worked.
But it's always 5 years from now.
Right. What a flip through looks pretty good. And the nice thing is, you don't have to have read any of the previous stuff. So for some of this stuff, it's kind of a glimpse into what could be.
Sure.
And it also gives the writers a chance to do some things and suggest some things that they really wouldn't get away with, make changes that really wouldn't happen, but they get to kind of play with it. Like the Dark Knight or like Elseworlds and things like that. And next up, we've got Red Lanterns. This is Charles Soule, who we've sung the praises of many times. Because he is now a Marvel exclusive, I don't think he's going to be writing the book in 5 years.
No.
But who knows?
But he's finishing up all of his arcs.
He's finishing all that up. But here we've got something I would not have expected.
That was crazy.
We've got Guy Gardner, Blue Lantern. So Blue Lanterns are back in 5 years, which is nice. Guy Gardner is one of them, even though it appears like he has a red ring too.
Okay.
He's been red and green before. He's bi-lantern.
He's sometimes Christmas, sometimes 4th of July.
But that's really a clever idea. And I think Guy Gardner is probably the last person in the world I would have expected to be a Blue Lantern. So I definitely want to see how that happened. I hope they give some hints as to that. But yeah, if you just want to see some fun stuff, some creators given a chance to do things they would never get a chance to do in their own books, this is fun. Good stuff. Next up, we've got Superman Futures End. Superman in the future. Well, actually, they kind of spoiled that already. That the dude that's in the masked armor is actually not Kal-El.
Right.
There was all of it. Oh, this has got some Lee Weeks artwork.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and that's another thing is a lot of them are using the actual writers from the main book, but with different artists. Sometimes there's different writers. Like this actually is written by Dan Jurgens. But here we get a nice Lee Weeks Superman book. That in itself is enough.
Oh, sure.
And yeah, Superman. If it hasn't been spoiled for you, I won't. But something's up with this masked Superman in the future, and this certainly ties into that. If you haven't been reading the news, people talking about it, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But just some interesting stuff that they're saying will be going down in Superman again. In 5 years, who knows who's going to be running the show at DC? So this probably won't pay off. But again, if you just want some good Elseworlds type stuff, some good what if in the future, like the Dark Knight or Kingdom Come or any of those. Basically, that's what DC's been all month. So you don't have to be caught up. If there's a character you like, but you're not caught up, you can just check the book out. And there's a bunch of other ones. There's a whole lot of these out every week.
41 this month.
Harley Quinn came out this week also, which a lot of people are digging, a lot of people are looking forward to because that's been a pretty hot book.
It's going to be the big one, I'm sure. Everyone's going to be excited about that.
So that's my stack. Now back to you.
Now back to me. We get through the other half of my stack here. Next I've got issue 3 of Sherwood, Texas. This was Robin Hood by way of Sons of Anarchy. This was, the biker gang with the whole Robin Hood kind of aspect, and they've kind of got, borrowing all the character names and such. It's not as reinventive as, say, Peter Pan's or Faust. At least not so far, I don't feel, because it does feel like they're borrowing from the hype of Sons of Anarchy being popular right now. You could have just as easily modernized, Robin Hood in any number of ways. The biker gang thing is the thing right now. So it's good. I like it. I'm having fun with it. Guy with a chicken head.
That is a clever mashup.
Yeah, it is. It works. It works, and I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it so far. Next, I've got Outcast. This is issue number 4. I just think did I start reading 3? I don't think I finished it. No, I did finish issue 3. So I'll be honest, this is one I'm going to have to go back and probably read the full story arc when it's done. He's jumping around. He's, as I've said for the first 2 issues, he's learned a lot from his time spent on TV. And he's writing this more like a TV or a film script where it's jumping around and telling its story differently than the dynamics of a comic ordinarily would. So I'm going to have to kind of get caught up. And what, is there a guy on the doorstep with a hat? What do we seriously have, like the priest from The Exorcist here? Like, what? So there's some interesting stuff.
Maybe he's learned too much from movies and TV.
Perhaps. But I like it. It's been good. Solid books. Issue number 4 there. Next, we've got issue 43 of Chew with 3 different covers, apparently. You know, all depicting someone different, you know, in the mashup with Poyo. Yeah, but it's got like Poyo's kind of there, but you got to mash it up with all the others, I guess. Kind of weird. So, yeah, I don't remember where we were. It seems like it's been a while since last we got them. I know I'm caught up, but it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, they took like a break with that Poyo issue, and then a break with the Revival crossover. So
it looks like we're starting to get ready to that battle with the the Chibapathic vampire or whatever. So there's been some good. Just these characters have been really fun. It looks like we're now starting to get back on track. There's some more Poyo stuff. Poyo has definitely been a breakout character. Looks like maybe they're visiting the Antarctic, you know, where there was some crazy stuff going on there. Yeah, the ice station. So they're bringing all their story together.
Yeah. Did they say issue 60 is where?
I believe that's where it's supposed to come to an end.
So, yeah, you're looking at a year and a half to finish up the story. And there's a lot to cover. You got the vampire that's not really a vampire. You've got all the stuff with the aliens.
Yep. That, the pineapple fruit, all that chicken stuff.
We're heading towards Endgame.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stories they've been juggling, so it's been a fun one. Next, I've got this is Drumheller issue number 9. This has been great, and I really like the fact that while they're tying up the story and kind of just bringing it to an end, this has been good. I felt like the transition issue, you know, the issue was it 6, was heavy with trying to get us up to date and figuring out where we were, where we needed to be, so he could wrap up his story and end it the way he intended. But about 6 issues sooner than he wanted to. About an arc sooner than he wanted to. I think he wanted to go 15 is what he was telling me. So this has just been some cool stuff. There's these weird, you know, little kids that are kind of killing abusive adults, and now they've got a confrontation with Drum. So we'll see how it's going. It's been some cool stuff. They've revealed to us who Harold is, so Harold kind of understands why these kids are doing their thing. It's been pretty cool, and okay, that's weird. This book has been really fun for allowing Riley to just draw some really strange, wacky stuff, and I've loved it. I think it's a great one. Issue 10 is the last issue. You know, I'm kind of bummed to see it go, but and it looks like we've got a pregnant werewolf on the cover. I'm wondering if that happened from their little throwdown a few issues ago. But just some great stuff, and that gets me through my stack. What do you got?
My top stack is something that I've been sort of waiting for. For the last couple of years, whenever I'm talking about stuff going on in Avengers and New Avengers, I've been mentioning, you know, Hickman's got this big plan, as he often does. Everything is happening slowly but building towards some kind of an end game, and that end game is here. We are in Time Runs Out. That started in the last issue of Avengers, and now this is New Avengers number 24.
I don't know, it's in 8 months Time Runs Out, so the end game is still like a year away.
Well, but this has jumped ahead 8 months.
Oh, gotcha.
So Avengers and New Avengers have jumped ahead after that 8 months. This kind of is where things are going to be.
Okay.
And there's a lot that's changed. The Illuminati is on the run. They are looking for Tony Stark and Reed Richards. Sue Storm is working for S.H.I.E.L.D. Amadeus Cho has now joined the Illuminati, along with Captain Britain and a few other people.
Okay.
And things have kind of gotten sort of dark. The Avengers are all wearing black costumes, and War Machine is part of the Avengers. Iron Man's not there. So in the first issue, we got this tease of where the Marvel Universe is going to be in 8 months. Unlike Future's End, Marvel is actually planning on this being in continuity.
Okay.
So in 8 months' time, the rest of the Marvel Universe catches up to where the Avengers are going to be. So we're getting hints, and we're getting a taste, and we're seeing some of those things about the Fantastic Four being broken apart because Reed Richards is on the run, because the Illuminati, well, we've kind of found out that they're not exactly wonderful people. And although they still insist they're trying to save the world. So somewhere between here and there, a lot, and this story is going to play out in the Avengers, and once everything catches up, that'll be the end of Hickman's run, and it'll move on to somebody else. But this is New Avengers, so this is the Illuminati stuff. This is when last we left off, Namor destroyed an entire universe to save our world, and the other guys kind of turned on him a little bit. Then to continue to save our world, Namor has teamed up with Doctor Doom and Thanos and a lot of other bad people who actually don't have a problem destroying whole universes to survive.
Right.
So it's kind of a weird moral issue. He's doing what he can to save himself and all of us, yet he's killing trillions of people every time he does it. That's some messed up stuff.
Yeah.
And we still haven't even gotten to what the Illuminati has done to make everybody else on Earth mad at them. So yeah, Hickman is playing with some interesting ideas here. Stuff that he kind of played with in the Fantastic Four with those Council of Reed Richards.
Yeah.
Clearly, Jonathan Hickman thinks it's a bad idea to put a bunch of smart people in a room together, because that's what happened in the Manhattan Projects. That's what's happening here. That's what happened in the Fantastic Four. Noticing a theme here, Jonathan Hickman is saying, don't trust smart people. They think they're smarter than you. They will screw you over. He may be right. I don't know. But it's neat to see this play out in this. And if for no other reason, this has got Thanos. I think if we look back, we will see an awful lot of Thanos comics in my top pick.
Right, yes.
It's kind of a soft spot. So we got Jonathan Hickman, we got Thanos, and we got some jumping ahead in time.
All right.
I'm in.
I noticed the theme, a lot of jumping in time.
Jumping in time.
In your, stack this week.
And yet I always complain about how much I hate time travel.
This is true.
So, yeah, actually, that City on the Edge of Forever did that too, didn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't hate time travel. Maybe I just like complaining about it.
Yes. You're a nerd. That's your right. As soon as the show's over, we'll go to the internet and bitch about it.
Okay.
So that brings me to the top of my stack here. This is a book I've been pretty excited about. This is Roche Limit by Mike Morisi. Mike's a friend of ours, really, really good guy, very talented writer. This is him going alone. This is not with a writing partner at all. This is a sci-fi kind of epic. I have already read this. But the version I read, had some black and white pages and some things unfinished. Mike did send me the finished PDF, and then I never had time to read the damn thing. I went in and upped my order anyway, because from what I saw, it looked great. And I was like, yeah, I'll get back to you tonight. And then I didn't, because I'm a jerk, and I didn't have time to read it. But I did like what I saw that first time around, and I'm looking forward to now having this print copy in my hand and giving it a read. We've got lots of copies here at Comics and More, because it is a book I believe in. It seems like a really fun kind of thing. And I really like Mike. And I like the stuff that he does. So we're hoping to get him back in, do a signing. But his wife did just, I think she was on the verge of having another baby. And I think that just happened a few weeks ago. So, he's busy. He's got things going on. Yeah. We'll get him when we can. So a great stack of books this week, I think. A lot of really cool, fun stuff.
Good stuff. Variety of public, big week.
Yeah, very big week. Lots of cool stuff. So be sure to check those out. And that is your Week in Geek.